All right, welcome, folks. We are back at the podcast studio, and I have got Mason with me.
Hey, guys.
Mason, remind him who you are again. Remind me who are you, Mason?
Yeah, my name is Mason Shaw. I'm the Kaiser Campus youth pastor.
Yeah.
And I do middle school and high school youth group here on Tuesday nights from 6 to 8 p.m. So if you know a middle schooler or a high schooler, send them our way.
Yeah, the Kaiser Campus middle school, high school is rocking, but you've been stepped out of that for a few weeks because
because we had our second baby. Baby Natalie joined us on March 6th.
Yeah.
So I've been on paternity leave for 8 weeks.
Yeah, but back in the saddle again.
Yep.
And you left these wonderful parents, kids in the hands of Joe.
Yep.
Yeah, and I had to agree to that.
Joe.
I had to agree that, yes, Joe Regal will do a fine job, because if I didn't do that, why would I give him my daughter in marriage?
It's true.
Which is happening on Sunday.
On Sunday, yep.
Yeah,
so if you don't see Jason in the pulpit, that's where he's at.
That is, yeah, you won't see me in the pulpit. I thought maybe you'd see me in the pulpit on Sunday, and then my family said that, no, you will not be preaching on that day. You will be helping set up for the wedding. Yeah. I thought maybe I could get out of it.
But you're not doing their wedding, right?
I'm not doing their wedding. Yeah, both Joe and Grace's dads are pastors, and so it's kind of nice to be like, yes, let's have a third party do this one, and I get to just walk her down the aisle, which will be fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I've had that experience of walking one daughter down the aisle, but then I switched places and stood between them and did the ceremony. This time I get to sit down and watch, which will be nice. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, Lee McLeod, if people know Lee's going to be doing the ceremony, which I did one of his daughter's ceremonies, and now he's doing mine. And oddly, none of this is actually probably very exciting to people that are listening, but oddly, when I did his daughter's wedding, Tiffany, it was on one of my daughter's birthday.
Wow.
And now he's doing my daughter's wedding, and it's on one of his daughter's birthday.
Weird. That's super odd.
It is. Yeah, it's kind of funny. Yeah.
Cool.
So talk to me about the difference between one child and two. Now that you've leveled up.
Yep.
From being a 2-on-1 to
man to man.
Yeah, man to man
defense. Yeah, I've heard people say that you know what you're doing.
Okay.
I've learned that's not true.
Yeah.
Yeah. They say after one, you got to figure it out. You've done this before. It's still hard. It's really hard, and I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I have learned the big takeaway I've had is the bar of blessing. The bar to bless my wife is so much higher now with two. With one, I was able to just I would be able to take my daughter and go play for a day, go to the park, take her out, whatever. And my wife would be able to kick her feet up or do whatever she wanted, or honestly, work around the house. But now it's with two. I'll take Noelle for the day and bring her home and be like, whew, man, wasn't that awesome? Weren't you able to just kick your feet up and relax? She's like, no, I was doing the exact same thing you were doing. So yeah, that's
true. I'd never thought about that. And Noelle's at a place now where like she's just little and running around and it's a completely different place to be at. Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, two. If you've had one kid, you've had one kid that you don't know what the second one is going to be like. I mean, there's definitely like parts of it, like, oh yeah, this is how you hold a bottle, or this is how many naps they might need in a day, or stuff like that. But the second kid is not the first kid. Yeah, they're a completely different child who need different time and attention and all that.
Yeah. The other thing is dying to yourself. I didn't realize, with one kid, it's like when you get married and you're like, man, now I know what it's like to be selfless.
Yeah.
And then you have a kid and you say, wow, now I know what it's like to be selfless. I had no idea I could give so much of myself.
Yeah.
And it's exponentially even more now.
Yeah, and then another one, they're like, oh, I guess I did have a little bit more to give.
Yeah, totally. And now looking back, I'm like, oh my goodness. Parents have been doing this for thousands of years, caring for children and giving of themselves. I did not appreciate it. So I'm one of 8. So I can't imagine my parents. So it makes me really, really grateful.
Yeah, I might have mentioned it on the podcast once already, but I had a meal the other day with a couple who had 11 kids. They'd raised them all, and their oldest kid has now had 8 kids.
Wow.
Yeah, we're talking about, I mean, they're creating a people group. They are a tribe.
Wow.
And he said something about one of the grandkids has now said, I want to have a big family. Wow. Like, man, that is the impact of that is
generational
huge.
multiplication.
Yeah, it
literally.
is. It's huge. I mean, there are people who have lived an entire Christian life and maybe never led anybody to the Lord. Or even if you're like, oh no, actually I've led a few people to the Lord. He might have led more just by having kids than a lot of people have ever actually led to Jesus.
Yeah.
And he did it through raising them in his home.
Yeah.
And if I remember right, he did it on a teacher's salary, which is
impressive,
pretty wild. Yeah. Yeah. So have you fallen into a new routine? You found it? Because I mean, there's the routine of you both get to be home. That's awesome. Yeah. And you need that to figure out sleep schedule and a food schedule. But now you're back to work a little bit. Have you figured out that routine?
Yeah, figuring it out. Just luckily, youth pastoring is flexible, so I've been able to try to be home as much as I can. Touch points throughout the day. I can typically be there and help be home for breakfast, and then touch in, get the girls down for naps. So we have a nice schedule there. Still figuring it out.
And one day you're going to be on school run.
School run. Taking the kids to school.
Yeah, taking the kids to school. And I mean, I guess you could homeschool them, and then school run is just wake them up and put a book in front of them. I don't know. We did homeschool for the first 4 years, and then went to Cross Hill after that, which we were both very thankful for. Yeah. Homeschooling is awesome, and I'm so excited when people do it, but it is not easy.
Yeah, I'm
for the faint of heart.
The only one of my 8 siblings that never did homeschool. So I
really?
I saw it, but I don't know the homeschool life myself.
Yeah. So your parents really gave up on you.
Yep. They said, send them to the wolves. Public school too. So,
yeah, what was that choice? I'm curious if you don't mind.
It was just social decision.
Okay, this kid needs socialized.
Yep. Yes.
Yeah, we can't deprive
socially
this
shamed
child.
to be shaped to be a normal human.
Was it because you were outgoing and they're like, you need to be around?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I used to. Yeah. Anyway, don't need to go that.
No, I'd love to hear it. Please tell me.
I was gonna say I used to get in trouble only when I was bored in class and would talk when the teacher was talking. Yeah. That was the really only time I ever got in trouble.
That makes sense. So. You look like that's when you got in trouble. If I had to guess, looking at your face, what kind of trouble did this kid get into?
Talking.
Yeah.
When he's not supposed to.
Probably just being too friendly and social to people.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I was so the opposite of that.
Yeah.
If my parents would have ever thought to, what is the best way to educate their child, which I don't think they ever once asked that question, they would have maybe been like, this kid needs to be brought home. Maybe put in a locked room with books.
That's funny. So, okay, I just got this story the other day. Apparently how I learned to love reading was because I would get in trouble at home, and they would lock me in the room with books. Oh, really? And I learned to read, loved to read, and then they started grounding me from books. Yeah. That became the punishment, and that was the hook that actually really worked. So
that is really funny.
Learn a little bit about me.
Your kid from books. You're in so much trouble. I'm going to make you dumber.
Exactly.
Like, I've had it with you and your smart mouth. Your vocabulary needs to go down. Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's good parenting. Next time I see your parents, I'll commend them on that.
There's a fathering tip. Figure out what your kids love.
Yeah.
And then take it from them.
I mean, that's, honestly, I'll amen that. Yeah. I mean, you got to have some kind of lever like, hey, this has this consequence. And to do that, it has to be something like, you really like. Now, there's some things I would never, you love going to youth group. You can't go, but there are things that'd be like, you love this, and you're going to lose this thing that you love if you don't learn to whatever. Yep. Take out the garbage when you're told to do it or something. So, all right, parenting 101, guys.
Someone who has no idea what they're doing. Yep.
Yeah, but you do. I mean, obviously you do, I think, because you're raising these 2 girls, but also middle school and high school ministry is parenting ministry in a way. You're not their parent. They have parents, but you're supporting, hopefully, the parents' goal of having them discipled. And I think when it comes to kid and pastoral care of kids, a lot of it is that kind of parenting.
No, that's fair. Yeah. Someone who's imperfectly figuring it out along with the rest of you.
Yeah. Yeah. Was that... like middle school, high school groove that you found in ministry, was that a natural, like you come from a sports background, really let yourself go now, but you come from a sports background.
Thanks, Pastor Jason.
Yeah, no problem. I'm sure you could still throw a ball. Like, was working with kids in that arena, like where did you first realize, like, oh, I could definitely work with youth?
Yeah, good question. I think, well, growing up in the church, me and my dad just served every Sunday in children's ministry. I think I was 10 when we first started, and then until I was 17, we moved up with the same group of kids every year until they graduated 6th grade.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, that was really my introduction into youth-ish children's ministry.
And alongside your dad?
Alongside my dad,
That's cool.
Yeah, so we did it together for a number of years, and then once I think it was into high school, then I started leading my own little small group, was kind of how we did it.
Yeah.
I was trained, discipled by my dad in how to care for kids, and then started doing it myself, and then I went off to college and was involved with FCA, Fellowship of Christian Athletes, and that was where I really learned to share my faith in a sports context, and learn to love kids. So
that's cool. We need more dads like that.
Yeah,
that bring their son along in ministry. And so you went to Corbin. I want to talk about the message too, but now I'm kind of interested in all of this.
Yeah, come on.
You went to Corbin. You played baseball. Was Corbin baseball at that time? Were the young men in the baseball believers? Were they, like, you had a strong group of Christian men there?
There was definitely a strong group. There was definitely some people who were a little bit more on the seeking side, and imperfect along with the rest of us. But yeah, there was definitely, I found a group of men that love Jesus and love baseball.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And you were in FCA at that time. Were you leading on your team?
I led in the campus huddle. So for multiple sports. Then actually before Corbin, I was at Yakima Valley College, community college, and was playing baseball there. And that was really my first introduction into leading FCA. And so that was multi-sport huddle as well.
All right. Yakima was the fighting what?
Yaks.
Not really.
Absolutely.
They were the Yaks?
Go Yaks. Yep.
Go Yaks.
Yep.
I assume they just purely picked that for the connection to Yakima. Yak sounds the same.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
It's kind of a sweet logo too.
Was it?
Yeah, it was.
I'll have to look that up. I want to see that.
I'll give you a hat.
Oh, please. If you give me a hat, I'd get a hat. I'd 100% take a hat. Yakima. Okay. Well, that's fun.
Yeah. There's a little deep dive into Mason Shaw, the youth pastor's background.
So,
if you have any more questions, comment down below,
please do. Yeah, I think I'd love to grill Mason with some of your questions. This Sunday, I should say, sorry. This Sunday, we're going through the Gospel of John. We're in John chapter 19. We're at the crucifixion. We read through the crucifixion, but really we spent most of the time just on the phrase, it is finished, and the implications of a finished work. Like, what's the implications? That at the cross, there is now a completed and finished work in Christ that we get to walk in. And part of the implication of that is that he's not saying I'm finished. He's saying it's finished, that he was doing a work. Yeah. There was a work that was being accomplished through his entire life and ministry, but it was fully accomplished on the cross. In your life, in youth ministries, what do you think the connection is to, helping a young person understand this faith that you're starting to come to and learn about and hopefully adopt and make your faith, isn't a work that you need to start doing, but a truth you need to believe and rest in.
Yeah.
Like, is that,
do
kids get that?
No, but largely I don't get it either. Sure. As in, I find unbelief in myself, in the way I think and live. To back up, I think the question you're asking of what are kids wrestling with in the crucifixion? The phrase "it is finished" refers to the idea that there's a work that needed to be completed.
Oh yeah,
right. And so I think first helping kids understand, and for us to understand. Do we believe that there is a work that needs to be done? Was there a reason for Christ to come, to die, to pay a price, to pay this penalty? I think a lot of times what I hear more than anything is I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm doing fine. How are you? Oh, I'm fine. I'm good, or I'm good. And kids are living crazy lives with just wild trauma, backgrounds, family stuff. And I'm like, you're not fine, right? Like the things that sin and the fall in this world has done to you has put you in a spot where like you don't see that there's a better way. You don't see that there's healing out of this. And so I think just to backtrack from their current circumstance, I think really like they need to know like there's something wrong in me that I need help.
Yeah, and there's when I think of those two words, both fine and good, one might be more therapeutic and one more, I don't know, behavioral. Like the therapeutic, no, I'm fine. Like, no, actually you're not. You're broken, you're wounded, like the rest of us. You know, it's not that I see more woundedness in you than I've seen in myself, but you are wounded and you need healing. And the no, I'm good can speak to your righteousness. And like you could also say like, well, no, actually you're not.
Nobody's good, not even one.
Not even one. And that's not to shame you because I find no goodness in myself either. But yeah, how do you get kids to that first step of realizing like not only is the work finished, but that the work needed to be done?
Yeah, and I think that's why we hear a lot of stories of testimonies where, I hit rock bottom. Right, it's because a lot of times that's what it takes, for kids to realize, oh man, my way has run its course, and I realize I'm not fine and I'm not good.
I think about that as I got this until I don't get this.
I don't got this.
Which I still can absolutely do. Again, it's contrary to my faith, contrary to the spirit that I'm being led in, but I find that's a lot of the flesh struggle is I got this, as opposed to God's got this. I need to rest in Him, and that doesn't mean there's no work to do, but the work is cooperation. The work is not earning, which is a completely different thing.
Totally, yeah. So then, what you're saying about the completion of it being finished, when we realize the work is done, that it's been paid on our behalf, that we are justified before the Lord. Then, like you're saying, I find kids who. And I find myself trying to pay a price that has already been paid, trying to work my way to be right before God when He's done the work Himself. So
I didn't share this at all the services, but I didn't share it at Kaiser where you were, but I did share it at South. That same Sunday, this was last Sunday, was our daughter Grace's Gotcha Day. It's the day that we adopted her, and she came to our home for the very first time. She was 8 months old. If you didn't know that, I got 2 daughters, one biological and one adopted. And so we always celebrate Gotcha Day by just going out to eat. We don't make it another birthday. We just make it a day to recognize, like, man, that was an awesome day for us. When you came home with us, it was awesome. And if you know Grace, food is her love language, so she loves to be taken out to eat. So we do that. But I was thinking about that all through the message as well. That at South on the 11:30 when I closed, I was telling people like, "Hey, this is my daughter's Gotcha Day. She's getting married this Sunday. It's a beautiful thing. The cross is where God got you." Like that's where it's like, okay, I got you. You're in my home now. Like I've brought you home. You're adopted. You believe this, and you got God. You got God, and also like, hey, now you're in a different family, and so there's different rules here. The old, you were out in another place. You were unadopted. Unincorporated into a family, and so you needed a different set of rules to live by. To survive. But now that you're in the family of God, there's a different way to live in here. And hey, and there might be some correction in that. Like, hey, we don't say that in here, or we don't do that in here. But there's also the admonitions, not just the corrections, but we do this. And, hey, in this family, we say we love you. In this family, we take care of one another. In this family. And I just when I think about the cross, that's what I think about. Like, yeah, it's the day that God got me. And I don't have to worry the same way I would hope my daughter's never worried. Like, is my dad going to take care of me? Is he going to be there for me? Is he going to feed me when I'm hungry? We tried to provide as much as possible. That the answers to those questions are always going to be yes. You're never going to run us off. You're never going to make some mistake so big that we give up on you. And no matter what it takes, Dad's going to do his best and provide for you, because God provides for us. And then answer those questions for myself. Do I believe that about my God? Do I act like he's got me?
Yeah.
Or do I say he's got me, and then I live like I better get this. I better do this, or else it's not going to happen. Yeah.
That's so good. Yeah. It reminds me something I say to Noelle every night before bed. I think it's from Habits of the Household. And it's, God loves you. Jesus died for you, and the Holy Spirit's always with you. And Mommy and Daddy love you so much. We're always here for you. We'll always make sure you have everything you need.
Yep.
And what's funny is I'm like, she needs that reminder every single day. I need that reminder 100%. Every single day. Both that I love her, I love her and will do anything for her as a recommitment, but also, man, God's got me preaching the gospel to myself daily.
Those are powerful words. And just think, if your daughters are going to take away so much more than that from their life and your family. But if that's all they took away, like what more could you want? Like how much more could you want than them to believe that, receive that, and walk that way through the rest of their life? You with kids, 2 girls, just like my 2 girls, but in a very different place where they're not even in school yet, little, and mine grown now and out of the house. Just having a back porch conversation with Trisha.
Literally or metaphorically?
Literally.
Yeah.
We're on the back porch, and we were just talking, and I said, I've been really good with all this up until a couple days ago. I mean, meaning giving away my daughter.
Yeah, yeah.
And a couple days ago, I'm like, yeah, maybe not.
Yeah, totally.
just that, like, wait a minute. What are we doing?
Yeah.
She's moving out, and that's it? Like, she's going to go live with some guy? I mean, sure, she's married to him, but still.
Yeah.
Like,
some Joe Schmo.
Who does he think he is?
Yeah.
He's not me.
Yeah.
But I just kind of like, wait a minute, wait. It's kind of put the brakes on here. This can't be just days away. When it was months away, it was fine. Now that it's days away. And that has absolutely nothing to do with Joe. God has so put together the right guy for my girl. I'm so thankful for him.
Yeah.
Joe, love you. It was just that, that dad moment. And I told Trisha, I said, your kids, after they've grown up and they're out of the house, that chapter's been written. You don't get to rewrite their childhood. It's over. Whatever happened. Now, there's always grace and forgiveness and communication and all that stuff, but it's on the books. It's in the books. There's no going back now. And the story they tell about their childhood is the story they will tell about their childhood. And it's not determined anymore by me, because that's over for us. And I was like, I don't know if I want that. I don't know if I want to write the end on those chapters yet, because and obviously it's just the end of that chapter. As a parent, you still got years and years with your kids.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah, and they can be, years that have built on something amazing that happened in their childhood, or they can be years of redemption of something that you wished that you regretted about the childhood. Because saying that chapter's closed doesn't mean that God can't do more. He will definitely do more, but that there's just something about that finality that kicked in this week.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing. That's good.
Yeah. I years ago, one of our children's pastors had us get a mason jar and put a bean in it for every week that you'll have with your kid until they turn 18, and that was eye-opening for a lot of people, because when you're little, you'll have a whole mason jar. Your kids will have a whole mason jar, but you start taking out a week at a time, and you realize, like, oh, this is finite. This won't last forever. So, I encourage us to think about that. I got off of the cross a little bit here.
Oh, that's good. I feel like it. Yeah, you learned about my history, and now it turned into a Mason parenting counseling session, and I'm here for it.
So Jesus died for us on the cross, but also it wasn't a random act of violence. It was God's plan. I think is another thing we were trying to get across is, hey, this isn't something that happened to Jesus. This is a plan that his good Father followed through with, and that he completely submitted to. And that means that that he was not the victim, but now neither are we. Yeah. When we come into his kingdom, we come into a certain security in him that you just don't find anywhere else.
Yeah. So how does that affect how we live now, right?
Yeah.
Like you're talking about in the kingdom. What about in our daily life right now?
Yeah, I think I said it on Sunday, and I wish I would have elaborated more, which is what the podcast is for. But if something gets to you, it has to have come through Jesus.
Yep.
And I think I 100% stand by that. That is absolutely true. Nothing gets to me that hasn't been signed off on by Jesus. Yeah. But I realize I've led a relatively charmed life. It's not that I've never felt any pain. But if someone who has maybe received abuse could say, wait a minute, you're telling me God co-signed on my abuse? And what that statement doesn't say is that all things are good. Mm-hmm. Bad things still happen. And we talked about that already, and not yet what that means. So it doesn't mean all things are good. It does mean that God can still use even bad things for my good, and he will refuse to waste those bad things, but still use them for my good. And that gives me just an armor that I get to walk around in, that there's no mistakes happening. It's not the right way to say that either. I don't like saying it like that. It's not that there's no mistakes happening, because there are sin and mistakes being made all the time. But he's not going to allow those to rule. Like he's going to use them for my good when I am fully submitted to him and in his grace and mercy and living by faith.
Yeah. And this is a huge tension spot where a lot of people lose faith.
Yeah.
Right. There was a pastor that we listened to the other day. They talked about how this doubt often comes from the places where we've experienced disappointment.
Right.
Right. The seed of disappointment in our hearts, where we had a hope that was unmet, or had something traumatic happen. That's the place where doubt creeps in. It's not necessarily that we don't believe in God or don't believe. It's just it comes from a deep, deep place of hurt, and we blame God rather than turning to him for comfort.
The hows and the whys, like, God, why is this happening, is a huge question that causes a lot of people to either pull back or walk away. And God, how, even if we get past the why, God, how are you ever going to use this? Like, I'm trying to believe that you can use this thing for my good. This loss of a job, this diagnosis, this divorce, this, whatever. I'm trying to believe that, but how? And man, our unanswered questions can be open wounds. They don't just feel like a question that's out there. They feel like, God, I kind of have to have this. I don't know how to not have this. But that is where faith exists. I have open questions with God, many of them. And faith says, God, I don't know the answer to this question, but I know enough about your character and your goodness to not walk away because I don't know the answer to this question. So I'll believe in your goodness sometimes in the face of circumstances that say otherwise.
Yeah. And the cross says, I gotcha, and I get you. Right? I gotcha. Yeah. You're mine, and I get you. Yes. I've been there. I've suffered.
Exactly.
Just the craziest. I mean, we read in the chapter just the flogging, the beating, the humiliation, his father turning his face from him. The first time ever in all of history that he was separated from his father. That's the greatest hurt that Jesus had ever experienced.
Right.
And Jesus says, I get it.
Yeah. And I think it was I've heard a few theologians argue that didn't happen. There was no separation. I disagree. And I think it was necessary because it was one thing to be in flesh, but still have that connection to the Father. Another thing to be in flesh, having all the weaknesses of the flesh, being tempted in every way like us, and have a separation from the Father, not because he sinned, because he didn't, but that's what we feel because of our sin.
Yeah.
And he experienced even that, and things I'll never experience. Like he doesn't just experience the things that I experience. He experienced things that I will probably never experience in my life as well. And he did it faithfully.
Can I go down a theological rabbit
Please do.
trail that you just brought up?
Yeah.
How could Jesus bear the sin of the entire world, past, present, and future, bear that in his body, and still be in connection with the Father? If he literally embodied sin, how could the embodiment of sin be in connection with the holy God still?
Yeah, that's very true. I guess it's a question, but it's feeling true. Like the sin landed on him, the punishment for sin landed on him. I wonder what the distinction is. It's not something, maybe you have insight to this, but I'm thinking the distinction between, the wrath of God upon sin, because I think when we talk about him bearing the sin, it's not that he's sinned, it's that the wrath on sin landed on him. So there's I think a pretty important distinction, but maybe I'm missing something theologically that I need to dig deeper into. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So you're saying, I guess I'm picturing,
right? Because you're saying God can't be in union with sin,
correct,
and which is absolutely true.
And if spiritually all sin was resting on him, at the moment, right? Like, and it went into the grave with him, and it stayed there. Then there was somehow some spiritual embodiment of sin on him. And so the wrath landed on him because of that. But I don't know. Maybe I'm over spiritualizing it, or don't.
I think it's a great question. And probably someone has tackled it well. Yeah, but I'm not sure.
That's why we're not theologians.
Actually, that's a great
Sure.
that's a great conversation actually to have right there. The pastoral theology, right? Because there's theology that can feel. I think all theology is applicable. There's theology that can feel academic. Trying to get to the bottom of transubstantiation or something like that.
Sure.
But then there's the pastoral theology that like, oh no, we need to find how the truth of the word actually applies to someone's life, like you just asked a minute ago. Like in the kingdom this, but what about today?
Yeah, totally.
Which today is the kingdom, but how does it affect how you live today, trusting in the cross?
Yeah, there's a book that you gave me, the pastor, Eugene Peterson, he talks about that.
Yes.
The idea that he wanted to be some heady theologian, and his, I think it was his supervisor, or what do they call it at a university? His advisor said, no, you need to go into a church. You need to serve. You need to hang out with real life people. You need to see them eye to eye, face to face. He's like, man, I have to deal with real people. I want to deal with the real issues. And he said something to the effect of, until you take a truth and see how it applies in the life of a person, a real life person in downtown New York. Until you put shoes on this truth and walk it out on the real streets, it's not gospel. No, I think that was the quote. It doesn't become gospel yet. Right. It's not real life. It's not applicable. It's not the life, death, and resurrection walked out in somebody's daily life, asking the question, what will you do with this today? Yeah, he's a bit of a hero, Eugene Peterson, of mine. Not that he's not without his flaws, but he had the academic chops, and realized the truth of that challenge, and then stayed in pastoral ministry, and just sat there in it, sat with people through hard things, and still continued to write incredible books and do a paraphrase translation of the Bible on top of that. So he used that, but he chose not to just use it in ivory towers, but he used it on street level where the rubber meets the road. Yeah, and so back to parenting. Right. Just to keep making that connection as we talk about the crucifixion of Jesus. Right. The things becoming gospel. Yeah. It's how do we do this in our home? Yes. How do we teach our kids about Jesus? How do we not just teach our kids about the idea of the crucifixion of Jesus, but how do we make it? Yeah. How do we present it in a way that people can see? Oh, Dad lives that. Dad lives. So I think it has to be taught, walked out. Yeah.
Taught and walked out. Because, like you said, that phrase that you use or the words that you use at bedtime are theologically brilliant. They're beautiful. They're straightforward. They're true. But then all throughout the day, you also have to like forgive when they're driving you crazy, or ask for forgiveness when you've driven them crazy, or show patience, to your wife as your child is there. And like all of that has to work, or else Dad gave me a few brilliant phrases.
And then didn't live it out.
Yeah. Which is actually more dangerous almost. I don't know. I have this conviction, I think, that you can inoculate a kid to the gospel, which an inoculation is, you get a measles inoculation. They give you a little bit of the measles, and then your body fights it off. So next time your body's exposed to the measles, those antibodies?
Yeah.
Antibodies go to work and say, nope, we've already seen this. We know how to keep this at bay. You don't get to win. And I think you can inoculate your kids to the gospel by giving them just enough of the gospel to make them feel like they've heard it before and they know it to be true, but then you don't actually live it out. And so the next time the gospel really lands on them, they're like, oh, I know about that. It doesn't work. And they're inoculated to it. Like, I don't need to. I've seen that in my parents. They told me those things, but I've seen that those things don't work because they fought with one another, or they didn't forgive each other, or they, whatever. And I do not want to inoculate my kids to the gospel. I want to give them the real thing. Yeah.
That's good. Sounds like that's coming from experience, from a place of either pastoral examples or family.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think we've all ran into people that have rejected the gospel because of some small untrue version of it. Like if you've ever witnessed to someone that says, yeah, I know all that. And maybe they're rejecting the real thing, but I found a lot of times they're rejecting a completely different God than the one that I see on the cross. They're rejecting some legalistic God, or they're rejecting some dictator God, or something else that they have labeled as the gospel or Christianity. And when truly introduced to the good news, because it is universally good, then they are at least able to say, oh no, that is different than I thought it was. And now I have to deal with that. I have to either reject or accept that. And it's still very easy to reject the gospel because it's humbling and humiliating. It says, I'm not good enough, and I never will be, and we're proud people. We don't like to say that. And it's a call to lay down your life. Yeah. So, yeah, but that's worthwhile. Maybe just lay this out as, because this is kind of what we closed with, and I think it's worth chewing on, that we live between the "it is finished" and "behold, I'm making all things new." John, the one who wrote both of those down, and both of them are other people's words. He is the transcriber of Jesus, both on the cross, and the transcriber of the God on the throne, Jesus. And on the cross he says it is finished, and in Revelations he says, behold, I'm making all things new. And I think, yeah, we're in a finished spiritual work, but there was a guy years ago that wrote a book, Satan is Alive and Well on Planet Earth. Hal Lindsey, I think his name was. Oh man, this is bringing back memories. He liked to write about end times and revelations and stuff like that. Kind of thin books, but they were relatively popular in Christian circles. This has nothing to do with that, but Mom, I'm so sorry. One time when I was in high school, it might have been like my, I don't know, maybe sophomore year or something like that. I got grounded for a couple months because of some really suboptimal grades that I should have. There was no reason for me to get those grades. All I had to do was try, and I could have got much better grades. But I wasn't really into trying. Trying wasn't cool, so I didn't do it.
Been there.
And so I got grounded, but it was over. I think they actually relented, and it ended up not being 2 months. But it was over Christmas break. And so I was pretty unhappy about that. And then they said, everyone pile in the car. We're going to the mall to shop for one another Christmas gifts. And so I went to B. Dalton Books, which I think doesn't exist anymore, and I bought my mom a copy of Satan is Alive and Well on Planet Earth as a not very subtle dig.
Wow.
She took it, and I don't think she even was like, I don't think she got what I was getting across.
That's wild.
Trying to tell her that I did not appreciate what she'd done.
Man.
I know, right? Isn't that terrible?
That's hilarious.
Yeah. I went on such a rabbit trail.
It's good.
Mom, on one hand, I hope you don't watch this. On the other hand, please forgive me. Anyways, in the it is finished and behold, he's making all things new. There's this, well, what power does Satan have right now? Because it says in the Genesis 3 that wasn't Jesus going to crush his head, right? So is his head crushed or not? Like, does he have power right now or no? And what does that look like? What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, yes, in a sense, right? Like he has some power. The effects of it have been defeated on the cross. We know the end of the story. We know, you mentioned the scoreboard.
Yeah.
One thing that sports people say.
I needed you in there.
Yeah,
for that. I know.
I commented to my wife.
Yeah.
Anyway, I commented this to my wife of that. Yeah. In a sports game, if one team's getting chippy at the other team, and the team that's getting chippy is the team that's losing, what does the winning team say? Scoreboard.
Oh, nice.
Right? And I think that's
what
kind
you
of
can yell out to.
Yeah, you yell scoreboard, right? You yell scoreboard to the enemy. Hey, look at the scoreboard. I know the end of the story.
Yeah.
I know that my team wins.
Yeah.
Right. Like you said, the enemy may score points.
Yeah.
But it is finished.
Yeah.
And I think, again, bringing it back to today, we can say it is finished. My salvation is secure, but I'm not the thing that's being made new. I'm not completely made new, right? The salvation versus sanctification, right? I am being made new, but I'm not complete. And I think that's the knowing it is finished and I am being made new. For that is where we stand. And
I wrestle with that. Like, honestly, I personally wrestle with knowing, like, I am fully saved. And that maybe even Jesus can see me both with the reality of where I'm at in my life, but also as if I'm already who I'm made to be, who he's making me to be. And being able to receive that love, but also be honest with, I need to conform in this place of my life of ungodliness, needs to be formed into his godliness. And I imagine I would think that's probably the average Christian walk, that we're constantly walking between those two things of receiving a Father's full love even in my brokenness, but also realizing, but my brokenness should not stay like this. It should be being made new.
Yeah, that's good.
Write these things down as the last words, for these words are trustworthy and true. So, podcast listeners, watchers, however you're consuming this, I would encourage you to find time to sit down and look at the cross in John 19 or the other Gospels and believe it to be true, like receive it as truth. Practice believing it. I know that sounds funny, but it has to be practiced. It has to be, you have to remind yourself of this. This is why a father would tell his daughter every night these things and remind them over and over again. This is why we would take communion every Sunday, to be reminded, like, I need to practice this truth because the world's not saying this. Yeah. I'm not finding this truth in other places. I'm finding it in the Gospels of Jesus Christ. I'm finding it in the community of God, in the house of God, and I'm finding it through the Holy Spirit. And outside of those things, other things are being said that would tempt me to unbelief. And so I need to constantly go back to those community, Word of God, Spirit of God, to say, no, these words are trustworthy and true, and I live by them.
That's good.
So, yeah. Anything you want to close with?
That's good. That's good stuff.
You said you're reading John Stott right now?
Yep. The Cross of Christ.
Cross of Christ.
Yeah, it's been good.
It is. Really, it's good stuff. Yeah. I think it's somewhere early in the beginning of that book, he talks about the earliest depiction that we have of the cross. Did you get that spot yet? You might not have.
What do you mean?
It says the earliest depiction that we have of the cross is, I think it was a Roman garrison that someone had carved in a wall, a cross, And on the cross was it like it's a man with a donkey's head.
Mm-hmm.
And then underneath it says, I can't remember the guy's name, but like I'll just say Marcus. Marcus is God. And because it shows this man like praying to this. And so it was mocking the cross, Romans. And I found that fascinating. Like, oh, wow. Yeah, the cross is still like, it's to be mocked at by the enemy. Like, that's not power. That's not how you win. That's not a God.
Yeah.
But we know it to be trustworthy and true.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, friends. We'll see you on Sunday. I will be marrying off my daughter, so I won't be there, but please come and continue with the Gospel of John with us. Bye.